All right, we'll be back in just a second. Check this out first. Well,
Nice.
welcome back, everybody. This is a very exciting moment. Today's show is about a new officer we're bringing on. She's going to be the deputy spokesperson working with me. So you're going to see her a lot. We've been vetting hundreds of people for new positions. Jason Wright is on the phone about 36 hours a day. I know there's only 24, but he makes it work somehow. And he's been interviewing people. He recently brought on Gabby. I interviewed her and I thought she was great. She's going to be helping me get the word out. So this is a face you're going to see a lot more. Speaking about CalExit, and I wanted to introduce her. She's going to be the deputy spokesperson for CalExit, Gabby. Gabby, uh, tell us a quick minute your California story. How'd you get here? How long you been here? Why do you love this place?
All right. Yes, like he said, my name is Gabby, Gabriella DeRoche. I used to live out in the good old country of Alabama and was raised there for roughly my teenage life. Went to school in Pennsylvania as well. Both of those places, I had this deep down feeling that I was just the big fish in the little pond. But when I moved out here for college in 2010, following that actor's dream of making it big, I fell in love with this place. Gave up on musical theater, but I did not give up on California. This place felt like my home. The wavelength, the vibration was something that I had been seeking throughout most of my life. And now that I'm here, I'm going to do what I can to live my best life and help you live your best life too. Because this is a beautiful place. Actually, I look right outside the Cerro San Luis every morning, and I thank God every day that I'm here.
That's awesome. As I've always told people, California is a land of immigrants. Very few people were actually born here. I'm first gen. A lot of people moved here. Half the population's immigrants. Where you came from is not a reflection of your California status. It is the adoption and the embodiment and the passion of belief of California values. And clearly you share that. We talked on the phone for about an hour before. That was obvious to me. And I know you talked with Jason Wright before, earlier than that. Let's get to the meat and potatoes here. And this is the question I want to ask you that everybody's going to ask. Why are you here and why do you give a damn?
I give a damn first and foremost because even before I was a proud Californian, I was a proud American. I was usually there whenever we weren't at the best of images in the world. I always stood up for this country because that is what you do as an American. We have this right to stand up for ourselves, our right to express ourselves how we should, regardless of what federal government or state, local government tells us. So I I see what's happening in the United States right now, and it does scare me. But at the same time, I see where we're at here in California, and I know that we just simply can't go back to what they're trying to pull us back into. We're already here. We're already literally on the mountaintops. Why go back down? And I'm not only here to keep climbing that mountain, I'm here to keep y'all from falling down.
Um, why back CalExit? Isn't it radical? Isn't it extreme? Isn't this madness? Why are you associating yourself with this idea? Why does this make sense? Why does this seem logical to you?
It is radical, but most things that mean something are radical at first. Um, for me, I guess I've learned recently that being a kind, compassionate person is a radical act in it of itself. So if it's radical for us to say we deserve better and my neighbors deserve better, I deserve better, then yeah, I guess I am radical. Is it mad? No. I I'm angry. I don't like being pushed around, but instead of channeling that energy into something hateful, I believe something beautiful can come from this radical idea.
Okay. Do you care if we move to the lightning round where I play devil's advocate?
All right.
Okay, like this is going to be a repeat of our conversation on the phone. I'm going to ask you some tough questions that we found here in CalExit. You already batted these out of the park with 100 out of 100, so, but I want the public to see. Okay, now I'm going to play a character. Gabby, isn't backing CalExit disrespectful to the World War II veterans?
It's absolutely not disrespectful.
What do you mean?
Well, my no-no, his family came from the oppressive regime of Benito Mussolini himself. So he was fortunate not to witness that because his family got him out of there. So it's because he was pulled from that hate, that vitriol, that tyranny, and he was able to see a better life in America. He put his foot down to make sure that we would not go back. So, if anything, I think people like my no-no, the World War II veterans especially, would be extremely, very displeased with this. And I'm sure there are some living that are extremely displeased of what's happening. They're seeing the stuff that they fought against repeating in full motion. And some of it, they had that trauma from where they once were. So it's a disservice to them, if anything, if we keep behaving this way as a nation.
Isn't this just taking your ball and going home because you lost an election? Can't you just be patient and wait for a next election? Come on, you lose some elections. Why don't we just wait for another election to fix everything? Why is that not a good idea, Gabby?
There is no time to wait. I was in this position myself, seeing our last president who did promise he would say, we're going to codify this, we're going to put our foot down and make sure these people are no longer stepped on again. And that promise never came. So within the first 8 days, this new president has come in and just signed all of these new executive orders. So someone's already proven that we don't have to sit and wait around. This can be done. So what is there to wait around for? I don't want to wait for that to happen. So that's why we have to move. If we wait, we might not have a California or United States to stand up for anymore.
Whoa, 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 Gabby, this sounds like hyperbole. Aren't you just taking what Trump says too seriously? I mean, come on, we're liberals. We a little bit emotional. He's just joking around. We shouldn't really take what he says too seriously. Right?
No, he's already started enacting what he proposed. That Project 2025, that wasn't a hoax. I have witnessed today so far 2 friends that have lost their own VA benefits or the benefits that they get for their own children because this man kept his promise. He said he's going to drain the swamp. And I guess we're just, rats and critters to him. So no, there is no hyperbole anymore. He said he was going to do it. He's doing it now, 8 days in. What's going to happen in 2 more weeks, a month, a year? So no, it's not hyperbole. And the more he sits in place, the less hyperbolic it'll come. We'll be living that nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Obviously, I agree, but I want people to see who you are and the conversation that we had, and that you're already there. I mean, when we were talking for an hour, I was asking you questions, and you're like, "I hope this is okay." And Jay and I were both like, "No, you're batting it out of the park, right?" And we didn't prep you. I was just asking you questions, and you had a natural California focused point of view about these things. That's why you already passed the test. We did that, so I wanted to show people that your answers are inherently pro-California. They're coming from a CalExit mindset. Why be scared of Donald Trump? Won't federalism stop him? Can't we just trust the federal government to enact these safeguards of civil rights and liberties? I mean, isn't this really just too much hype? He's not going to do much, right?
There was a point in time where I was allowing myself to believe in, that little chance of a better tomorrow. Maybe someone will do the right thing one of these days. Just, I'm tired. As a 30-year-old, even as a 30-year-old, I'm dissatisfied with the action that I'm seeing from the people who did supposedly say that we were there for a better tomorrow. As a queer person myself, I am scared. I'm scared for my friends, my family. I'm scared for them to stand up for what I know they know is right. Because this is what a kind, compassionate, living person in this beautiful United States is supposed to do. We're supposed to be there for our fellow man. And now we're being proposed this rhetoric of we shouldn't focus so much on this little guy. He's taking all of it. What's so important about them that we can't, focus on you for? So this individualism is kind of plaguing our minds right now, and it's making us lose the idea. So maybe in a better timeline, I would have had more hope for us to beat this all together. But as of now, I think the masses are just too riddled with this idea that some of us, that the wolves are amongst us, but they're not the ones being, they're not the ones right above us who's, making us fight for essentially. We're their rogues gallery, and they're telling us what to do, how high we jump. And I don't want to play their little game anymore. I would like to be here with my fellow Californians and Americans, but not like this.
But if we leave, we're abandoning all the liberals in America. What do you say to that?
They abandoned us already, I believe. There are just a lot of liberals that kind of gave up on this fight for good. And I think this complicit attitude, it's just not going to serve us well. And I don't think that's very liberal of them at all to be so accepting of this and take it so idly.
Ooh.
So I'm not, I'm not too thrilled with them. And so if they think that, I'm even more liberal than they are for proposing this idea, then, I would say you can't call a spade, but you literally can't. They're behaving and acting more conservative as the days go on, personally speaking.
600,000 signatures in order to qualify this ballot for California to become independent. Come on, you're never going to get those kind of signatures, right? I mean, it's just way too big. That's unrealistic. You're being a little bit silly thinking we can pull this off, correct?
No, not at all. You just find the right neighborhood. Yeah, you find that there's... Are you telling me out of 40 million people in California, there's not 500,000 people that are on board with this?
This is what I hear from reporters. It'll be so hard to get 600,000 signatures. That's so high, you can't do it. What would you say?
600,000? I passed through about populations about 600,000 to 1 million or so when I was a courier dispatcher. We passed about millions of people a day. We would go from San Luis Obispo to Ventura. That's about 2 million right there. So you're telling me that at least not even a quarter of those people would not be on board? Because I know Californians, especially in that coast, they'll be on board. We just got to find them. We got to raise their voices up and make sure that they are heard.
Come on, secession's illegal. This is insane.
No, it's not. It's not illegal.
What?
We can, we can't just say, hey, we seceded and that we're done. No, there is a precedent. We cannot leave the Union without state or revolutionary means. So we can collect the signatures, which I know we'll have no trouble doing, but we still have to get approval from about half the states. And a lot of them are already waving us goodbye. So
I'm done. You crushed everything. So how about this? Let's play the reverse. Throw me a tough question.
Okay, here's a tough one.
Yeah, throw me one. Goes both ways.
So one thing that I think is gonna, come onto people's mind is, well, the last people to secede were the racists. Doesn't that make you a racist? Isn't this like know better?
Frankly, that's impossible. So the Southern Confederacy did try to secede for racism. The people who were leading the secession movement were all white slave owners. The people who are leading this secession movement are Latin people, LGBTQ, women, Muslims, other minorities, people of brown and dark skin. So the group that's pushing this is fundamentally as opposite as you can possibly get from the slave owning Southerners who pushed for the Confederacy. The people who are pushing for this are different, and their desires are fundamentally different. California has been a diverse place that respects diversity for 100 years before America even had pilgrims on the ground. Whereas the Confederacy was always dedicated to slavery and equality for centuries, we've had literally the exact opposite legacy for 500 years.
All right, well said.
Hit me, throw me another one. Tough one.
Okay. All right. Tougher than that. Ooh.
Anything you got? Any awkward questions are fine too.
Actually, who do you think is a political leader, given the last 10, 20 years that you feel like had the right idea of what we're trying to achieve here? Like, is there any political leader that you felt confident in at all? Or has it just been bare bones?
Well, I'll tell you that when Donald Trump was elected in 2016, there were a lot of California elected officials out of Sacramento. They wouldn't say that they back CalExit, but they would go on TV and say, why do we need the federal government? We don't need the federal government. We can do this independent of the federal government. That's secession talk. They wouldn't admit that. They weren't conscious of it, but that happened. There was also Willie Brown, who ran basically California for about 10 to 15 years in the 80s and 90s. He, in 2017, went on one of the major network TV stations in San Francisco and said, maybe we should stop paying federal taxes. That's suggesting a felony, and it's essentially the same line of illegality as suggesting full-blown violent secession. So they didn't say secession, but you have that. Then you also have it's called California 100. It's a public policy group, and they suggested California should just have its own immigration policy independent from America. Again, secession talk. Now, none of these people are saying secession. They're just saying, I want to ignore the feds and do whatever the hell I want. Mm-hmm. What do you think they were doing with the South in 1865? I'm not endorsing him. I know he's a critic. He's a particularly debatable figure at this moment. I'm not criticizing him either. Mm-hmm. But Gavin Newsom said nation state during COVID. And then he said, we're going to ignore whatever the federal government tells us to do. We're going to completely ignore all federal directions. We're going to act like a nation, he said, and go on the global market and deal with China directly, independent from America, as a nation to nation. And we're doing it as a nation state. And he was celebrated on Rachel Maddow by liberals everywhere. That's basically, I want to ignore the feds. I want to act like an independent nation and nation state. That's all secession talk. All of that's secession talk. But he didn't do that. And finally, I'd point out that Governor Jerry Brown, my favorite politician in California, I think he was great. I'm not endorsing everything he did. He told the Chinese government, this may be a little bit bold to say, but you should consider California a separate country. He said that to the official Chinese government. It was here in California. But we're like, okay, well, that's secession talk, right? Schwarzenegger's governor said California is a good and common global commonwealth and nation. So that's also secession talk. So nobody said it, but anybody politician who talks that way, you got my support. And I think that also says something. Like they won't say secession, they won't say CalExit, they'll just say, I want to ignore the federal government and do whatever I want and act like a nation. Okay, that's the same thing we're saying, guys. Whatever.
Yeah.
Hit me. What do you got? Hit me. Right to the gut. Gut punch, then head punch. 1, 2.
Let's see.
WWE style.
Here, all right. So what
1930s boxing.
What would you say about people who think that we're just doing this to like join Canada or something? Would you tell them like this is all about us, or would you humor people that want us to it, relocate with another government or.
So there are a few CalExit supporters who talk about what about joining Oregon and Washington? What about joining Canada? But it's always, I want to secede immediately. How do I sign up? Let's do this. Oh, by the way, it might be interesting to join Canada. It might be interesting to join Oregon and Washington. And that's no more than 5% of the people. 95% of the people are, where do we go? How do we do this? I want out. I'm a Californian. So there's a little bit of interest, but I want to be clear. They don't say it'd be cool to join Oregon and I'm also interested in CalExit. It's sign me up. I'm a CalExiter. By the way,
Yeah.
on our way out, maybe something to think about. 95% aren't even doing that. It's an overwhelmingly California focused movement. People have California values and they are scared that those are going to be destroyed. And we're open to working with other people, but and maybe that happens that way, but I wouldn't say that that's the push at all. That's not what I'm saying from the people when they talk to me. It's, I'm a Californian. I want to protect my people and the life that I've always expected that I would have. And I always expected there was going to be progress and things were going to be this way. And then suddenly in 2016, it was apparent to me that I can't count on the California that I know to stay that way because somebody may come and destroy it or take away these things. And people are beside themselves and going, I just wanted to protect what I thought we were always going to have. And I guess this is the only way I can do that now.
Well said. Yeah, there's definitely some talks of people that just think that we want to pledge our allegiance somewhere else, and I want to just kind of put that out there that I don't think a lot of us are pretty interested in joining anyone just yet. We need this independence so we can make that decision when the time comes. So that's awesome. What would you say to people? For instance, I was talking a lot about my family on the East Coast. What would you say to people that are worried that, it's going to become a situation where we have to apply to see our family members again? Where is this? I guess, is there going to be a big fear of separation? Is this something that that will get better as time goes on, perhaps?
There's certainly people who've suggested that, but nobody in California is interested in anything other than a Canada-America style relationship.
Oh, okay.
So all the CalExit supporters are that. Nobody's talking about hard wall, even though they want to be separated from America, even though they're scared with America, even though they're disgusted with America. There's literally no one saying, let's build a wall ourselves and cut off everything. I think everybody knows we're an international trade-based economy. You literally can't cut off trade and travel and transportation and going back and forth between America and California. If independence meant that America and California could no longer trade with each other and had a wall, we're talking about an automatic long-term recession for both countries.
Right.
So anybody who has an understanding of economics knows that's just dead talk. Like, that's going to go nowhere. That's not good for anybody. Nobody's for that. Secondly, people have a lot of family in America, so we're not interested in doing that. Third, California is an international travel destination. It wouldn't make sense for us to cut off Americans and going, but we still see ourselves as an international travel destination. So Canada, America. Canada does not want to be America. I've talked to some Canadians, despite what Trump says, but they like visiting America. They like investing in American businesses. They like American tourists coming over. The highest intermarriage rate between Americans and a foreign country is Canada. The highest interdating rate between America and another country is Canada. One of the Canadian boys and girls have come back in body bags from joining American foreign wars. Now, I'm not endorsing those wars, but I'm saying when you're willing to have your boys and girls fight alongside another country and die, and you're marrying those people and you're investing in that country and you're traveling, what's the difference? That's not, we're allies. We'd be allies. We're a Western order country. Nobody's talking about being North Korea or subsidiary of China or Russia. That's ridiculous. It would bring all sorts of chaos and economic discontinuity if we did that. And Californians are, we know business. I know that conservatives like to act like we don't, but we do. Nobody's interested in that.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that was something, 8 years ago when this movement was proposed, a lot of my East Coast friends were, oh my gosh, Gabby, what if this means we'll never see you again? It's like,
No.
I don't know. Hollywood, the ag industry alone are like two things that I think are so unique to America that if we say goodbye to that, then I don't think they would be too happy. The contiguous United States, that is like, this is where all the happy cows come from. So
Right. Awesome. Well, name a Western country that does that. Where anywhere in the Western Order is there a country that goes, we have a hard separating wall with the other? The only place you could see was Northern Ireland, and they took that down in the 1990s. Before that,
yep.
no other place in the West had that. Um, the only other place was East Berlin, but that was between the West and the non-West. So show me some place in the Western Order where two Western countries go, we're not trading with each other ahead of this wall, and we don't allow. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the Western order. You can't find an example. So if America's a Western country and California's a Western country, and that's not going to change overnight, how would we be different from the entire rest of the Western over since 1970?
You got it. There you go.
I'm smart. Me talk good. Talk good. Real good. Oh, Jason
Hi,
Wright,
Jason.
CEO Jason Wright. So I wanted to ask you real quick. I asked Jason to come in here. Jason, I've heard that you have been sitting on the couch eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and doing nothing while we have thousands of people who want to be part of CalExit. Could you out yourself and tell me how I totally have that correct, sir? You got to unmute yourself. There you go.
I really wish that I was eating something. I still haven't eaten all day. I've been up since
Sir.
God, when did I get up this morning? Like 7:30, I think. I fell asleep in my chair around like 3:30, 3:45. So that's kind of the longest session of sleep I've had in a little bit. First world problems, though, it's a good problem to have. I was
So
just
you're
going
playing video
around.
games all the time, right? That's why you're.
Uh,
What's going on in your life? What are you
I
spending
mean,
your time
I
doing?
am a total gamer. I totally would. But there's something actually really important that needs to be done. And we're working towards it. Right now, I'm not dressed up. I'm sitting outside in the freezing cold because I've got roommates and don't want my onboarding calls getting interrupted constantly. You know, I'm doing everything I can to get people on board, get them sorted, get them into their positions and roles, and get them set on the way, so that ultimately, like as and see, I'm sitting outside, so but lively community. Um, Ultimately, as the CEO, I shouldn't be doing a whole lot other than management, supervision, show up to the meetings and, oh, okay, hey, yeah, or, take a little note, maybe talk to the spokesperson and deputy spokesperson here. By the way, Gabby, awesome to have you on board.
Thank you.
Hashtag women in power. Seriously, women in power and women of power. It's a hashtag I've been using for like 14 years at least now. So now you will be one of them. Ultimately, as the CEO, I should not have to do much of anything. Marcus and I have been, for the last couple of years, doing most everything with some help here and there. Sometimes people are like, hey, yeah, no, you're good people, so I can help out a little. And it's been awesome. It has kept us alive enough to be here for you all at the moment of crisis. But that means that it is, our responsibility to really see this thing through. And I get that. Marcus, oh my goodness, truck.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
small unit. I got it. Um,
So what are
Marcus
you interviewing a bunch of
should
people?
only have to be interviewing occasionally and doing lots of media stuff, lots of television interviews and all that. Not the myriad, the bank stuff earlier, right? Like I could name 1,001 things right now that he and I have both had to do that neither one of our positions should really have to do. And it's up to us to onboard you all, like we did with Gabby here. Marcus getting me trained up, right?
Yep.
Okay. um, this is the process. This is what it's all about. It's not about me. It's not about Marcus and Gabby. It's not about any one of us. It's about the 40 million plus Californians because, you know, if you're really truly a Californian, then you probably know that there are many people who are Californian who maybe are not recognized by the federal government as being Californians. Here we like to say, screw that. If if you feel that you are a Californian, welcome home. So
Nice. I like that.
we're
I like.
going.
Welcome home. Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Well, let me ask
we're
you, how
we're
did you find
going as
Gabby?
hard as we can for all of you.
How did you find Gabby J? Gabby, how did you find the movement?
Well,
Oh my
yeah, I
goodness.
would I would start with her because I didn't find her. She
Okay, Gabby, how
figured
did you
out
find the
her.
movement?
I
Please.
believe it was a KTLA article saying that that the petition was allowed to be circulated again. So once I saw that, I actually looked at the bottom like, okay, where's the petition so I can sign it? So it was actually Marcus's office number, I believe, was on there. And I reached out to him. I was there for the meeting on Sunday, this recent Sunday. And then after that, I just kind of this fire was further lit within me. So I reached out to Jason after you mentioned that y'all were looking for specific officers. And it's like, well, I didn't want to like throw out that like it's funny because I didn't want to throw out there like I could be an okay spokesperson because I knew
Yes.
Marcus already had that. But deep down, I was like, I can do like this clerical stuff, but there's just something that needs my voice right now in all of this. So that's ultimately what drove me to reach out and say, hey, I would like to be involved. By the way, I'm a theater major. Let's see what we can do with that.
Yeah, you got a great voice. You got a great voice, and as I've told Jason, if you have only one person speaking for the movement, that's not a movement. That's called a cult.
That's fair.
So I cannot be the only person speaking, or it looks like it's the Marcus show, which it's not. I don't own the CalExit idea. I mean, I heard about it from other people. I'm just somebody who's embodied it. That's why we also wanted to do this interview to show people if you want to join, Jay and I are not be held to the idea that we have to be on top. We recognize there are other people with skill sets and we want to put them in positions of leadership so that they could lead. We've never said that we had to be the ones at the tip of the spear. We were just doing it because someone needed to do it. If other people can come in and they have better skill sets and better way of saying it and better marketing. I mean, we've been talking with Jeff. We'll introduce him soon. But we've been telling all the new officers coming in, this is the phrase, your opinion doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. The market's opinion matters. And that's what we're looking for. New voices, new blood, have new insights in how to reach people. And Jay and I are very aware that if we had already figured it out, we'd be done. Since we're not, we haven't figured it all out. So maybe we need to shut up and listen to some new people with new ideas. That's Gabby. For now, that's other people coming. We want more voices and more people. And we wanted to show we're about it. We'll leave it there. Gabby, any last minute statements you'd like to make? I got to go prep for meeting at 7, but any last minute statements? Anything you want to say?
I'm very sincere with what I mean when I'm a team player here. First and foremost, Californian, then it's American. So what you're going to see from me is just hopefully the most authentic self that you will see of me. And I'm excited that, that I'm here. I was disabled for years, so I'm still disabled, but now I'm here again in the public. So just rest assured, I think between the three of us and the many more to come, we all got this together. You're in good hands, and we're all holding each other's hands through this as well. So I'm here to fight. I'm here to win. So oh yeah, and you can also my name is Gabby DeRoche. Just find me on Facebook if you have any questions for me. Otherwise, I'm excited.
All right, we'll leave it there. I'm going to end the stream. Gabby, Jay, would you stay on the stream with me? But I'm going to end it for the public. So I just want to talk for a minute. And okay, that was it. We'll see you soon.